What did Kevin have to say to you during the exit interview?
Continue to get better. You know, I have a lot of things I need to work on. Continue to get better offensively, and just be ready for this upcoming year. You know, anything might happen. Just be prepared to be ready to step in and play some heavy minutes if needed.
James talked about getting the guys out to California to work together. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I go to California every summer, so that's right up my alley. You know, I know a lot of people in Cali, so it's good to know James. It's gonna be fun. You know, we're gonna have a lot of guys out there. You know, we're a young team. We wanna stay together as much as possible. You know, this summer.
How do you grade yourself this year?
Not so good. I mean, we didn't win anything. I mean, but you know, all jokes aside, that you know, it was a surprising half a season for me. You know, but you know, I look in reality, it's only a half a season, so I haven't really played a whole entire NBA season. So I get ready for that. I get ready for 82 games. Get my body prepared for that. Take this break, with my family, rest a little bit.
I know you said when you were in Europe that you had James Harden type publicity with a bullseye on your back and all that.
Yeah.
But over here, now you've gotten a lot of attention, a lot of notoriety. What do you think about all the things that are being written and said about you now? Everything.
It's starting to change a little bit. But no, you know me, I've been having fun with it. You know,
I don't mean just the bad stuff. I mean, I don't mean that stuff with the injury. I mean the people taking notice of your game.
Just everything. You know? It's been fun. You know, now that I've been able, you know, go in restaurants, I don't have to wait in line anymore. When I first got here, but no, it's been fun. You know, I love Houston, man. I really do. You know, like I said, they took a chance on me when no one else did. Gave me that opportunity. And, you know, like I always been saying, you know, I like to be ready and prepared, and I was able to take advantage of the opportunity.
You said surprising half of the season. Did you know that you were capable of having a season like this?
You know what? I knew, but not as fast. You know, I would say. You know, I was in a position where, you know, I was able to have a role on this team. You know, as a young player, and that's big. You know, especially for young players. So, you know, it was fun. You know, the ride was definitely fun. You know, we made a little bit of noise in the playoffs. So, you know, I was back to the drawing boards. Like I said, gonna take some rest and work on some weaknesses this summer.
What can you actually get done during this summer? Is it as much mental preparation, or is it just watching film? Or
no, it's a lot of stuff. You know, tighten up the screws. You know, if you have an old car, you know, it might be a beauty, but you might need a new paint job and tighten up some things here. And, you know, that's all it is. It's like a basketball player. So, you know, if it's, you know, shooting, if it's something I can tighten up there, or ball handling, or decision making, you know, whatever I can do to, you know, tighten up my screws to be that much better and that much more efficient for next season, would be a plus for me.
How do you plan to do sort of like, this is the week I'm going to work on this?
You know, I usually try to take a month off. But you know, I think in this situation I'm gonna take about 3 or 4 weeks off, which is around a month. And you know, I start with the track. You know, then I start in the pool to get my wind up, and I go on the basketball court. All the things that I wasn't good at, that I didn't excel in this season, I like to focus more on doing off season and try to kind of level those things out when the season comes.
I think you sort of know yourself well enough to know what it is where you could improve. Or anything specific that's like number one at the top of that list, would you say?
I can't tell you. I won't see. We'll see next year, though.
Do you feel like you've only scratched the surface on how good you can be?
You know, I took from that meeting, you know, a key phrase Coach McHale kept saying, that for me, the sky's the limit. You know, and you know, when you're in there, you listen to, the sky's the limit, you know. But you know, it really hit me when he said it, because you know, for him, he's been around this game longer than anybody. You know, he's seen good players, seen great players. So for him saying that is a big plus, and it's you know, and that meeting got me that more focused to be that much prepared in off-season.
What did you think of your 5 months with Omer Asik?
Big O, you know, I'm gonna see Big O in Chicago. You know, he loves Chicago, so I'm gonna catch Big O in Chicago. I'll leave tonight. We'll have some dinner, a couple days. But no, O's been great. He's been, I mean, he's been great. He stepped up big time in the playoffs, making free throw shots. I mean, just defensively, rebounding. You know, he always gonna do that. But you know, O's been great for us, man. You know, and I'm happy for him.
Kevin Durant said that night after the series is over that this team will be a force to be reckoned with in the future. What does that mean to you guys coming up with a guy like that?
No, he's in the same position. You know, one of the youngest teams. You know, the organization was able to put some make plans and keep the team together, just like they're trying to do with us. You know, just like the Houston Rockets trying to do with us. And you know, we're a young team. You know, we're tough though. We're going to battle, and we want to get better. So we're excited about that, and can't wait. You know, we want to get this bad taste of this first loss of the playoffs out our mouth.
You came later in the season, but do you feel like kind of as a whole, maybe you guys were a little bit limited by the amount of experience you guys had together, or do you think that maybe you guys are a couple pieces away for next year?
I mean, you can look at both options, but I just think for what we had, you know, there's definitely room for improvement. But we played well for what we had, you know, and we went out there, we battled. You know, it wasn't great games. You know, we weren't great a lot of times, but we were good. You know, and we'll be down 20 points and come back and win a game. Like so, that shows character of our team, no matter what the age is. Like I said, this team has a bright future, and not only for me, but for this entire team. The sky's the limit.
Kenny Smith said after maybe the second game of the playoffs, he thought that you were Chicago tough. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm happy to get there today, though.
No, I would think that it maybe describes a mindset or sort of an attitude that you bring to what you try to do.
For me, you know, when I was playing basketball in high school, you know, when I was growing up, it was Derrick Rose, you know, and Sharon Collins. So those were the two guys that was always above me, you know. So I guess for me, it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know, like any competitor, burns a fuel in me to try to outperform them in any way, and I guess, you know, that's where the toughness and the competitiveness comes from.
And I would think that just what you do today, what you've been able to do this season sort of prove the people, coaches like to call for you to play defense, need to play defense. Well, you played defense, and it's worked out pretty well for you. It's like that.
Yeah, I have to do. You know, you have to do something to get inside the door, you know, and for me it was defense. And once I got inside the doorway, I was able to, you know, display some other attributes to my game, you know, offensively. So, you know, it's all about getting that chance. And like I said, you know, I'm forever grateful, you know, the Houston organization for taking that chance on me.
This team will probably be at least a little. Every team changes from year to year. There'll be players that'll be here that won't be here. Will a part of it be recapturing whatever sort of spark that you has that makes the team a team?
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. You know, I think for the most part, most of the people are going to be here. You know, so we're excited about that. It's going to give us that much, you know, that much positive energy to be around each other again. You know, to have that team chemistry that we need. You know, going into the upcoming season. It's going to be fun. You know, we're all young. We all like to have a good time. You know, play video games and all that stuff. So it's going to feel funny. You know, those guys not around. You know, after the season, I'm still with, you know, with T. Rob House and with T. Jones every day. You know, so it's going to feel weird. You know, not being around those guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.